Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Govijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Govijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Govijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Girari Radha Girari Radhe. Jaya Radha Girari Radha Girari Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa, Prabhujakacharya, Sotar Sata Shishi Maresi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada ki, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhugan Ke Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ke Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ke Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ke Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ke Jagannath Puri Dham Ke Ganga Mai Ke Jamuna Mai Ke Bhakta Devi Ke Tosim Harani Ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ke, Srila Prabhupada stands in the book distribution Ke, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ke, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ke, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru, Gauranga, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're getting to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter number 7, Sacrifice performed by Daksha, text number 29. Okay, Rudruvacha. Tavavarada Varanga Ashisha Kikarte. Tavavarada Varanga Ashisha Hartarte. There's an extra syllable in there, so. Didn't work yesterday, did it? Yeah. Yapi Muni Bir Asaktar Adare Nahiniye. Yapi Muni Bir Asaktar Adare Narhat. Yadari Chita Diyama Vidyaloko Pavidam. Japatina Ganaye Tatvat Paranugrahena. Rudruvacha. We got that down. Tavavarada Varangra Ashishekar Lilarte. Yapi Munibir Asaktar A Rane Nahiniye. Yadari Chitta Diyama Vidyaloka Pavidam. Japatina Ganaye Tat Twat Paranugrahena. Rudrovacha. Tavavarada Varangrav Ashishikar Ilarte. Niye. Yadira Chitta Diyama Vidyaloka Pavidam. Japatina Ganaye Tatvat Paranugrahena. Rudrovacha. Tavavarada Varangrav Ashishekar Nilarte. Yapi Munibir Asaktar Adare Nahiniye. Yadi Rachita Diyama Vidyaloka Pavidam. Japatina Ganaye Tat Tat Paranugranena. Rudurvacha. Lord Shiva said, Tava, your, Varada, O Supreme Benefactor, Vara Angra, precious lotus feet, Ashisha, by desire, Iha, in the material world, Akila Arte, for fulfillment, He api, certainly, Munibi, by the sages, Asaktai, liberated, Adarena, with care, Ahaniye, worshipable, Yadi, if, Rachita Dhyam, mind fixed, Ma, me, Avidyaloka, the ignorant persons, Apavidam, unpurified activity, Japati, utters, Naganaye, do not value, Tat, iti, it, Tvat paranugrahena, by compassion like yours. Lord Shiva said, my dear Lord, my mind and consciousness are always fixed on your lotus feet, which, as the source of all benediction and the fulfillment of all desires, are worshipped by all liberated great sages, because your lotus feet are worthy of worship. With my mind fixed on your lotus feet, I'm no longer disturbed by persons who blaspheme me, claiming that my activities are not purified. I do not mind their accusations, and I excuse them out of compassion, just as you exhibit compassion toward all living entities. Please repeat. Lord Shiva said, my dear Lord, my mind and consciousness are always fixed on your lotus feet, which, as the source of all benediction and the fulfillment of all desires, are worshipped by all liberated great sages, because your lotus feet are worthy of worship. With my mind fixed on your lotus feet, I'm no longer disturbed by persons who blaspheme me, claiming that my activities are not purified. I do not mind their accusations, and I excuse them out of compassion, just as you exhibit compassion toward all living entities. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shiva expresses herein his regret at having been angry and having disturbed the sacrificial activities of Daksha. King Daksha had insulted him in many ways, and thus he had become angry and had frustrated the entire sacrificial ceremony. Later, when he was pleased, the yajna performances were reinstated. Therefore he regretted his activities. Now he says that because his mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, he's no longer disturbed by the ordinary critics of his way of life. From this statement by Lord Shiva, it is understood that as long as one is on the material platform, one is affected by the three modes of material nature. As soon as one is in Krishna consciousness, however, one's no longer affected by such material activities. One should therefore always be fixed in Krishna consciousness, busy in the transcendental service of the Lord. It's guaranteed that such a devotee will never be affected by the actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. This fact is also corroborated in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who is fixed in the transcendental service of the Lord has surpassed all the material qualities and is situated in the status of Brahman realization, in which one is not affected by hankering for material objects. The recommendation of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should always be Krishna conscious and should never forget his transcendental relationship with the Lord. This program has to be followed strictly by everyone. From the statement of Lord Shiva, it's understood that he was always in Krishna consciousness. Thus he remained free from material affliction. The only remedy, therefore, is to continue Krishna consciousness rigidly in order to get out of the contamination of the material modes. If we could repeat. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurn Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. You could say there's no better way to learn how to swim than to simply be thrown into the swimming pool. It's sink or swim. Balaram Prabhu asked me to do the service of trying to repeat the message of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And although quite unrealized and unworthy on this particular topic of always being in Krishna consciousness, as Lord Shiva reveals, he is. I pray for your prayers. I ask for your prayers, and hopefully some divine mercy can manifest. Otherwise, I'm kind of contaminated by my outside association, but I'll just say it the way I would yesterday. We're screwed. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's very interesting how the liberated pure Vaishnavas conceive of themselves, how they feel, their realization. There's never any pretense on the part of a pure Vaishnava. They are who they are. Those who are on lesser platforms, neophytes, we see the externals and sometimes we have no clue what their consciousness is. Daksha, let's not throw stones too quickly at him. He was a very elevated, pious Brahmin, entrusted with propagating the universe. He was blessed by Lord Vishnu to carry out that service. Am I mistaken in that he had had darshan of Vishnu before this? Does that come to mind? He had, hadn't he? This is no schmo. But he couldn't recognize who Lord Shiva was. He just saw the body. He saw the, cover of the book. He didn't have a clue. Oh, he doesn't stand up to offer respect to me as father-in-law? And the Vedic culture is very important. We can't throw that out. Without the etiquette of Vedic culture, Vaishnava culture, all chaos ensues. So he had a point, one who is subordinate should offer respects. But he didn't understand that one who's always fixed in their consciousness on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's always offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord, before the person walking into the room even realizes it, that person is offering obeisances to the super soul within his heart. There's never a question of a Vaishnava being disrespectful to anyone. So Lord Shiva was feeling regret for having become angry. But anger is not originating in the material energy. Anger is there in God. It's there in the internal potency, and it is a part of any pure Vaishnava or Vaishnavi. When other Vaishnavas or the Lord are blasphemed, they become angry as fire. And although Lord Shiva is taking personal blame that he messed up the sacrifice, it was his fault, he didn't become angry because Daksha blasphemed him. He became angry because Sati, she was offended, and she killed herself because of the cruelty of her father. Who wouldn't become angry? That's proper anger. And so out of that anger, sent the demon. His associates followed. They completely destroyed the performance of the yaga, wreaked havoc. But a pure Vaishnava sees his own shortcomings and always thinks of himself being lowly, rotten. Srila Prabhupada used the word, rotten, unqualified to offer any service to the Supreme Pure, merciful Personality of Godhead. So he took the blame internally. And it's a very good example for each and every one of us. The example of the pure Vaishnavas, they always in Bhagavatam are used as, the scapegoat. Well, just see when you're not Krishna conscious, all trouble breaks loose. All inauspiciousness incurs. But the pure Vaishnavas had no inauspiciousness. As we heard this morning, even when apparently there are reverses in life, or apparently it looks like they are suffering as anything, those who are fault finders will be quick to say, just see, he deserves it. I know what a rascal he really was, how he's offended me or others, or did this or that, just see. The neophyte has no vision on the spiritual platform. His eyes are still covered with cataracts. And Srila Prabhupada, jumping ahead to the end of the purport, he tells us, so we have to follow the example of Lord Shiva. We have to rigidly follow Krishna consciousness, the process of Krishna consciousness, aspiring to never forget our transcendental relationship with the Lord. We should always remain busy in the transcendental service of the Lord. Lord Shiva does, and always will. He and the Lord are tight as anything. They're so intimately connected in their devotion for each other. There are statements in the Chaitanya Bhagavat wherein Lord Chaitanya says, anyone who would offend or fail to offer respects to Lord Shiva, how can he be dear to me? Lord Shiva is most dear to me. If we want to be endeared to the Lord, we have to understand and properly reciprocate, properly serve those who are dear to the Lord. And in this verse, Lord Shiva is stating that the Lord is compassionate to all living entities. All living entities are dear to Him. He loves everyone equally. There is no unfair bias or prejudice on the part of the Lord or a pure devotee. That's the spiritual reality, above and beyond the skin disease and the external appearances of the illusion of this world, the illusion caused by the modes of material nature in this world. So those who are free from the influence of this material energy, they know what is worshipable. I read not too long ago a letter by Srila Prabhupada wherein he was saying that just one glint, one ray from the toenail of the Lord's lotus feet is greater than all the opulences of this material world, is more, these are not his exact words, but enthralling. It is more attractive, he used that word, than any and everything of this material world. Those who are fortunate to have had, who are fortunate for the Lord to have revealed to them His transcendental form, then there's nothing of this world that has any value outside of service to the Lord. It might as well just be dirt or stool. They have no attraction, no attachment for it. Only the service of the Lord. And they don't serve the Lord because He is the source of all benedictions. They don't serve the Lord because He's the one who can fulfill all desires. They don't serve Him because He and He alone can offer liberation. Srila Prabhupada in the purport says they serve Him out of duty. That's who they are. They can't help themselves but serve the Lord. There is no other alternative. When you come to realization of Krishna and your realization with Him, there's no turning back. There's no desire whatsoever to ever want to leave that service. And one will pray earnestly to always be allowed by the mercy of the Lord, by the mercy of His servants, to engage in His service. Because once again, they feel themselves unqualified. And if we look at ourselves in comparison to such an example, to such an exalted standard, we often think the services that we're too good for them. Why should I have to do that? This is the illusion that we're worth anything outside of service to Krishna. I was sitting on the chair in my kitchen, and it's one of those chairs that, you know, kind of office-like chairs with the wheels on it and this and that, and I saw a black screw on the floor. Now, if it had just been swept up, neglected, and not realizing what its value was, what its utility was, it was just a useless screw. You'd throw it away. But I understood, oh, this is probably from the bottom of the chair, sure enough. Our only value is in service to the Lord and His devotees, in service to those who are dear to Him. That's our only value. And to the degree that we measure up in that way, to that degree we have something worthy of. Or for that, as far as that goes, we're all looking for some pat on the back and some appreciation or respect. It comes with the bodily concept. The thicker the illusion of I am this body, the more you want it, the more you're attached to it. Even Krishna consciousness, devotees after some time come to realize, oh my God, I didn't realize, sometimes I'll do my services because I want to be liked by others, or I want to be appreciated by others. But these are all based on, me as the center. But respect given to one who is engaged in service is appropriate. It's purifying for those who offer it, and the Lord truly does like giving praise to those who are fully surrendered to Him, because they don't become contaminated by it and they don't think it to be their own, that they deserve it. The emphasis is not on them or the I. It's always on Krishna and service to Krishna and those dear to Krishna. So the Lord is willing to give all benedictions and fulfill all desires to one who's fully surrendered. There's nothing the Lord was not willing to offer. King Yudhisthira, he was offered the entire world, knowing that it would be used in the glorification of Krishna, that he would act accordingly, engaging all others in the service of Krishna, following their duties at least, to become qualified to engage in the service of Krishna, directly or indirectly. So many examples for the pure Vaishnavas. And Lord Shiva is one. And yet, even though he's the husband of the god, the personified material energy, he's her Prabhu. He has no desire for grabbing onto and claiming any of the opulences that she manifests in this material world. He lives under a tree. He dresses in a tiger skin, smears ashes on his bodies, wears the bones of exalted Vaishnavas as a garland, associates with those in the mode of ignorance, easily misunderstood by someone who wasn't on the Vasudeva platform, pure Krishna consciousness. There's the verse that substantiates his claim. And another point, when he was talking with his wife Sati, in the 3rd chapter, 23rd verse, it's a very famous verse. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yadiyate Tatripumam Apavrita Sattvecha Tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo Yadhokshajo Me Namasavadiyate. He says, I'm always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. So he's always Krishna conscious. He engages in activities that, how would we say, as a guna avatar, it makes him ineligible in and of himself to be able to give liberation. Or we use him as an example as one who becomes affected by the association of the modes. The pure devotees, as I said earlier, they'll use themselves as examples or not care a fig that they are used as an example to help conditioned souls learn. So we say like that. But Shiva at heart is pure in consciousness and always is. And there are many expansions of Lord Shiva, the different Rudras and what have you, and some of them may become contaminated in the execution of their service. May. Irregardless, for us, we simply take the dust of the feet of Lord Shiva and pray for the mercy of our Guru in this way. He is our Guru. He is our Prabhu. He is a stellar example for Krishna consciousness. And we use him, as Prabhupada says in the purport, as an example of how we should, strive to always be engaged in service to Krishna. Mamchyo vivicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatichaitan brahmabhuyaya kopate. If we're always engaged in service to Krishna, always hearing of Krishna, remembering Krishna, or talking about Krishna, serving in any of the 9 ways of bhakti, then we're inoculated from the influence of the modes of material nature. And unless one becomes Brahman, one cannot serve the Supreme Brahman. Is it Brahmaiva, Son, Brahmapi, Brahmati? There's one little shloka in the Sanskrit that says, unless you are Brahman, you can't serve Brahman. Unless you're fire, you can't touch fire. Unless you're a fish, you can't live in the water, etc. So to serve Krishna, we have to become qualified. The material senses cannot serve Krishna. They can't even see or even conceive of him. He's adhoksaja. Only by the mercy of those who possess purified senses can the transcendental message manifest within us through the ears, and thus the consciousness become cleansed, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. By their mercy, they can give us instructions, and if we follow them to the best of our ability, by their mercy, we become purified and rise above the modes. But in the interim, while we are still affected by the modes, they take the service and pass it on up the disciplic succession to the lotus feet of Krishna. We're so very fortunate in unlimited ways. Krishna, adhoksaja, he who cannot be understood, what to speak of seen, by contaminated senses, he manifests himself. And always Krishna consciousness or service or realization of Krishna, it is the mercy of the Lord manifesting. He manifests as the deities, He manifests as the Guru, He manifests as the holy names in unlimited ways, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. So that we can cultivate understanding and ultimately realization of who we are and who He is. There's a nice prayer by Bhaktivinoda Thakur wherein he says, when the illusion of this material world is lifted from my eyes, then I'll understand that there's simply the Lord and nothing different from Him. At that point, I will understand I'm His eternal servant. It's paraphrased, but that's the essence of one of his prayers from Jaiva Dharma. We are the eternal servants of the Lord, and we're engaged in sadhana bhakti. In our hearts, we should be aspiring for higher levels of bhakti, praying for the mercy, always knowing that I'm lowly. But within my heart, the aspiration is there, please allow me to serve. Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam Bhakta Uchate, purely, with purified senses. And of course, that's only when we begin to internally and externally apply the essence of Krishna consciousness, that we simply want to serve for service's sake. Simply want to imbibe the mercy of the Lord, not for any material reason, whether it be in karma or jnana. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadya navritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakta uchate. If we follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, who also is the source of all benediction and fulfiller of all desires for us, Prabhupada Nugas, first line, see, the only way one can attain pure devotional service is through the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Attachment to his lotus feet is perfection that fulfills all desires. The lotus feet of Prabhupada and all pure Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, are so auspicious because they take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. And that's what they want us to do. They set their examples, and to the degree we follow it and encourage each other, to that degree the stringent process becomes sweeter and sweeter, and how would you say, without seeing, what's that word, no, even I could say unconsciously, but that doesn't have the right context. Imperceptibly, thank you. One makes a tremendous advancement. Coming here a few days back, flying back from New York, I was just sitting there and looking out the window, you see things moving, landscape, but it doesn't look like you're going very fast. And then this small little, double prop airplane came going the opposite direction. And because when it did, it looked like, zoom, he flew like, well, he wasn't flying that fast. We're the ones flying so fast. But going the opposite direction, it just accelerated. But the eye was able to see. So I could conceive, oh my God, we're really moving. So in Krishna consciousness, sometimes it appears that we're not making that much advancement. But trust the spiritual master. Trust me when I repeat his words. Imperceptibly, we are in a liberated state. We just haven't realized it. This is the holy spiritual world, the holy Dham at the feet of Radha Giridhari. They are fully present here. They are fully present in their holy names, and it's just a matter of realizing it, waking up to the fact by practice, begging for the mercy, and whatever drops, whatever mercy descends, then by that grace we can appreciate that. And at such a time we will embrace any and all services given to us. It's all about the service mode, the mood of let me please surrender in service. That's the essence of getting the mercy of Krishna and having revelation or realization of our eternal relationship with Him. I think I'll try to end on time. How's that for a shocker? Any questions or comments? Jagannath?
So, Lord Shiva, I know is quick to anger. It's been said many times, but in this particular case, because he warned Sati before she left, is this some form of like just an act for him to fulfill this pastime? Because if I had warned somebody and they did it and then the result would happen, I don't know if I'd be risen to anger in that regard. But I mean, I understand that it's his wife, you know, but it seems to me like he had some form of knowledge of the upcoming event to even give her the warning. So is this whole thing that's happening merely like a outward display for the Vaishnavas to understand this?
It's a good question. The same kind of questions have often been asked about Arjuna's illusion on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Is he just acting for our benefit? Is he an illusion? The pure Vaishnavas, they're always under the internal potency of the Lord, and they don't pretend or put on pretenses. The closest thing that I could conceive of them acting a role is when it looks like they're an ordinary person, engaged in ordinary material activities, etc. They are who they are, and they're impelled always by compassion for others and in devotion to the Lord. So even though he could foresee the, it's just like I foresee that not like many people foresee at some point the American economy is going to fall down into shambles. Now when it happens, are we going to be kind of like affected, even though we know it's coming? That's a mundane example, but maybe it can help you see. When she gave up her body, he holds her dearly. This is his Shakti, his consort. And when by the actions and the cruelty, emotional cruelty of her father, she gave up that body, he had every right to be angry. And he was justified to do what he did. You don't hear Lord Krishna or Vishnu saying, "Why'd you do that?" He says things like that when it's called for. Lord Brahma, don't give any more benedictions to demons like that, etc. But in this pastime, we see nothing of that sort. We just see that his compassion was exhibited in the form of his punishment. Another example for us disciples, devotees, followers. When Guru or Vaishnavas give us a sauce, even if aspiring followers of Srila Prabhupada gives a sauce, and not simply purely motivated, if we see it in the proper perspective, the reality of it is Krishna's manifesting in all that takes place, and the chastisement is for lessons to be learned. It's the mercy. So he said, that's why gosh, he tore off the head of Daksha. I mean, on and on, the pastime. Real havoc was wreaked. But it was all for their purification. They really, Vaishnava aparad, if it's not uprooted, it has disastrous results on the spiritual platform, which pains the heart of pure Vaishnavas more than anything, to see the conditioned souls suffer. Does that make some sense? Anybody else? Jamal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. It's a very good question. It takes the part of two generally. Although there is causeless mercy sometimes bestowed, Narayani was how old, Balaram? When she was given Krishna Prem? Yeah. Yeah, she was 5 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, how much, eligibility or no qualification did she have? But it was simply given to her. But for the most part, the 2 fingers of the rope being short with Mother Yasoda tying Krishna, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the 2 elements necessary for binding Krishna, realizing Krishna, is one's own desire with the mercy of the Lord. The Lord helps those who help themselves, which means we have to try our best as if we were the doers, praying, working hard, following the principles, but it's really, all that is for purification of consciousness so that we get straight, simply begging for the service. But that's there, and when the Lord and His representatives see that type of desire and the service manifest based on that desire, then they're more than happy to give. So we emphasize the necessity of the descent of mercy. We're not the doers. We're not, we don't barge into Vaikuntha on our own qualification. We don't think like that. But without a doubt, it's not simply mercy. We don't, sit around waiting for the mercy to fall on our head. No, it's both. Is that okay? Anybody else? Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for your association. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Hare Krishna.